Thank you for joining me once again. Hope you're having a good day. We're going to begin thinking about Naaman, one of the more well known figures in the life of Elisha. Today's hymn, it's the hymn, that's not the hymn, that's the passage. Today's hymn is a soul winner for Jesus.
I want to be a soul winner for Jesus every day. He does so much for me. I want to aid the lost sinner and leave his erring way and be from bondage free. A soul winner for Jesus, a soul winner for Jesus. Oh, let me be each day a soul winner for Jesus, a soul winner for Jesus. He's done so much for me.
Now let's look at our passage. 2 Kings chapter 5, verse 1. Now Naaman, commander of the army of the king of Syria, was a great and honorable man in the eyes of his master, because by him the Lord had given victory to Syria. He was also a mighty man of valor, but a leper. And the Syrians had gone out on raids, and had brought back captive a young girl from the land of Israel. She waited on Naaman's wife. Then she said to her mistress, If only my master were with the prophet who was in Samaria, for he would heal him of his leprosy. And Naaman went in and told his master, saying, Thus and thus said the girl who is from the land of Israel. The whole account of Naaman begins with a girl who's been taken as a slave. A Jewish girl. The Syrians have gone out on raids, and they've brought this Jewish girl back, one of the Hebrews. That's how the whole thing begins. That she is helping Naaman's wife, and she speaks up. If only my master were with the prophet who is in Samaria. As we think about being a soul winner for Jesus, and we make applications, and we think about this girl who was instrumental in Naaman being cleansed from his leprosy. You know, this girl could have been very, very bitter. She could have been very angry about her lot in life. She's been taken as a slave. So she could have been filled with anger and just wished nothing but death on all those around her. One of the things that you see throughout the Old Testament, and I'm thinking especially right now of Daniel and his three friends. Remember what Daniel says when the king, in the account of the lion's den, when the king yells out to him, O king, I believe he says, O king, live forever, if I remember correctly. That these individuals who had been taken captive, they were such a blessing on their enemies. Rather than being bitter, there are examples of when people were bitter against their enemies. For example, Jonah. He was filled with bitter hate, and the Lord rebukes him for it. Daniel? This girl? She wants what is best. And please understand, she wants what is best for the commander of the army of the king of Syria. Just amazing. Could have been bitter, but she's not. She could have been selfish and said, No, that's my prophet. That's my God. You guys have your gods. You go to your gods. This is my God. And I'm not sharing them. A lot of folks try to do that with the church. They get very nervous when someone new comes in. And if they don't fit their expectations, they don't want them there. We need to get over that. And we need to realize what the Lord has done. And we need to be soul winners for Jesus. And Jesus didn't come to call the righteous, he came to call sinners. So don't be surprised when sinners come. He came to heal people. Don't be surprised when they're sick. Don't be surprised when sick people come. That's who the Lord came for. Don't run them off. Don't be filled with bitterness. And don't be selfish with the Lord. Share the Lord. This girl, she could have been selfish, but she's not. She could have been quiet, just out of fear. Do you think it took courage for her to say what she said? I would suggest it did. But that's what she did. She took courage and she said it. She could have been quiet. She could have said nothing and just waited for her mistress, to use the word in verse 3. She could have said nothing and just waited for her mistress to become a widow, because Naaman was a dead man walking. She could have said nothing, just out of fear. But instead, she took courage, she spoke up, and Naaman goes and speaks to his master, and suddenly the king of Syria sends a letter to the king of Israel, and we know what's about to happen. All because someone spoke up. All because someone spoke up. A good example for us. Be soul winners for Jesus. Loving our enemies. Sharing the good news. Appreciate you. Hope you have a good day. Join us tomorrow for another portion of our daily praise.